Last night, while you were completely unconscious, your brain was more active than it is right now. Not slightly more active, significantly more. Scientists have known this for decades, and the deeper they look, the stranger it gets. Because here's what nobody told you. Everything you think you know about sleep is wrong. And what's actually happening inside your mind every single night is either the most fascinating neuroscience story ever told or evidence of something far more unsettling. Stay with me. Why do we dream? Where do dreams actually come from? Is lucid dreaming a real superpower or just a quirk of biology? And that world you visit every single night, could it actually be a parallel universe? These questions might seem unrelated, but they all point to the same bottomless mystery. What exactly is a dream? It's not just random flashes during sleep. It might be a window, one that each of us has unknowingly pushed open into something we don't have a name for yet. For thousands of years, humans have been obsessed. From Zhuangzi dreaming he was a butterfly over 2,000 years ago. Am I a man dreaming I'm a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I'm a man? To today's quantum mechanics and the many worlds interpretation, we have never stopped asking. Tonight, I want you to slow your breathing, because we're not just talking about dreams. We're about to run a deep thought experiment about time, memory, and parallel universes. Don't blink. In the next few minutes, I'm taking you somewhere you visit every single night but have never truly understood. And I promise, by the end of this, you will never look at sleep the same way again. When you close your eyes, the world doesn't disappear. It just switches to a different operating system. We like to think of sleep as turning off, like charging a phone. But modern neuroscience says that's completely wrong. Your brain never stops. Here's what actually happens. When the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, reason, and judgment, gradually goes offline, it's like the strict stage director finally clocking out. And the moment that happens, the limbic system takes over, your brain's emotional core. Wild, primal, completely unbothered by the laws of physics. And here's where it gets fascinating. Try to remember last night's dream. Wasn't it bizarre? And yet in the moment, it felt completely real. Maybe you walked into a room that looked exactly like your current home, but somehow, deep in your gut, you knew it was the house you grew up in. Or you had a full conversation with someone whose face you couldn't quite make out, a total stranger, yet you were absolutely certain who they were. That's not a glitch. That's your brain running a completely different program. In dreams, the regions responsible for reality checking are suppressed, while the regions handling emotion and association go into overdrive. That's why dreams carry that strange feeling, familiar yet foreign, known yet impossible, like a memory of something that never happened. But wait, here's where it gets weird. When you lie down at night, your body kicks off a precise biological journey. Sleep isn't a dark void, it's a trip with a strict schedule. Scientists have mapped it into 4 key stages, and each one is stranger than the last. Stage 1, falling asleep. This is the tipping point. Your brain waves shift from alpha waves to slower theta waves, and then it happens. That sudden jolt, like missing a step on the stairs. Your whole body lurches awake. Here's why. Your brain just misread your body's extreme relaxation as a signal that you've died. So it fires an emergency electrical pulse just to check if you're still alive. That jolt, that's your brain pulling you back from the edge. That's the last pull from the waking world. Stage 2, light sleep. The train rolls into calmer territory. Your brain starts producing something called sleep spindles, rapid bursts of neural activity that act like a firewall, blocking out external noise, protecting your sleep from being interrupted. Meanwhile, your brain begins quietly sorting through the day's events, filing, organizing, preparing for what comes next. Stage 3, deep sleep. This is the golden repair phase. Your brain shifts into slow delta waves, the slowest, most powerful waves it produces. Growth hormones flood your body, rebuilding muscle tissue. And then a system kicks in that most people have never heard of, the glymphatic system. Cerebrospinal fluid essentially washes your brain, flushing out the toxic waste your neurons built up during the day. Beta amyloid, tau proteins, the exact same substances linked to Alzheimer's disease. Every single night, your brain runs its own janitorial service. If you wake up feeling crystal clear and sharp, thank this stage. If you consistently skip it, the consequences go far beyond just feeling tired. Stage 4, REM sleep. And here's where everything changes. If the earlier stages are the opening act, REM is when the spotlight blazes on. Your eyes dart rapidly beneath your eyelids, as if tracking something invisible. Your breathing becomes irregular, your heart rate spikes. And here's the part that should genuinely disturb you. Except for the muscles controlled by a mechanism called REM atonia, which paralyzes your body so you don't physically act out your dreams, your brain activity during REM is nearly identical to when you're fully awake. Let that sink in. Right now, reading this, and you at 3 a.m. deep in a dream, your brain looks almost exactly the same. So which one is more real? This is when dreams peak. The hippocampus replays fragments of your day and collides them with old memories buried deep in your cortex, creating combinations that are strange, vivid, and sometimes inexplicably meaningful. But wait, here's where it gets weird. If dreams are just random memory remixes, why do some of them have airtight logic internally? Why do some leave you with genuine creative breakthroughs that change your life? Why do some feel like you actually visited a place that exists somewhere? Because maybe, just maybe, you did.
Have you ever walked down a street you've never been to and felt it in your bones? I have been here before. The angle of sunlight hitting the corner of a wall, the specific smell drifting from a bakery you've never entered, a dog barking in the distance, the exact same pitch, the exact same rhythm. Every detail lands like a memory, and for a split second, time feels like it's folding in on itself. Psychology calls this déjà vu. But what if we step outside psychology entirely? What if we look at the cutting edge of physics and what it suggests about where your dreams might actually be taking you? In 1957, physicist Hugh Everett proposed something that most of his colleagues thought was insane: the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Here's the idea. Every time a quantum event occurs, every time a particle can go one way or another, reality splits. In this world, you turned left. In a parallel world, branching off from this exact moment, another version of you turned right, and both are equally real. These parallel universes don't interact at the macro level. Your life and your parallel self's life will never cross under normal conditions. But here's the question that keeps certain physicists up at night. What about abnormal conditions? What about a state like dreaming, where consciousness is dim, where logic is loose, where the usual boundaries of your mind are dissolved? Could different versions of you across parallel branches of reality resonate with each other through quantum entanglement? Could that street that felt so impossibly familiar be the one another version of you walks down every single day? Could that sudden wave of grief that hits you for no reason be an emotional shock wave from another timeline, where another version of you just lost someone they loved, traveling through the fabric of space-time, landing in your chest at 3 a.m. in a dream you can't explain? We cannot prove this. We cannot disprove it. Science is honest about that. But it offers something remarkable, a strangely comforting thought. You are not alone. Countless versions of you are living out different choices, different paths, different lives across dimensions you'll never directly access. And occasionally, in the strange, quiet vulnerability of sleep, you feel them. And over 70% of people experience it at least once in their lives. The mainstream scientific explanation? Honestly, it's a little boring. Think of your brain as two processors running in perfect sync. One receives real-time sensory input, everything you see, hear, smell, feel. The other files that information into long-term memory. Usually, they're locked in perfect synchrony, but when you're exhausted, stressed, or overwhelmed, there's a tiny lag, a microsecond of desynchronization. Your brain accidentally files the current experience into long-term memory before your conscious mind has even processed it. So when you finally arrive at the present moment, your brain checks the archives and says, "Hey, this is already in here. This must be the past." You experience the present as a memory, like a video where the audio is half a second out of sync with the picture. It's just a neural hiccup, nothing more. But here's what that explanation cannot account for: the overwhelming emotional weight. It's not just, "I've been here," it's a deep, aching sense of longing, a deep recognition so strong it almost brings tears to your eyes. Sometimes even a terrifying feeling of knowing exactly what happens next. You can almost predict who's about to turn the corner, what word is about to be spoken. A neural hiccup doesn't explain that. So here's a more fascinating concept, one that most people have never heard of. Déjà rêvé, French for already dreamed. This is different from déjà vu. This is the theory that your current experience is triggering a forgotten dream, one of months or even years ago. You have been here before, not in a past life, not in a parallel universe, in a dream you've long since forgotten. Here's how it works. Every night, your sleeping mind runs simulations, thousands of possible futures, possible conversations, possible places, possible versions of your life. Most of them vanish the moment you wake up, gone, irretrievable, but they leave traces, ghost files buried deep in your subconscious. And then, one day, real life happens to perfectly match one of those lost simulations, a street, a smell, a voice, a moment. Your subconscious fires like a starting gun. I rehearsed this scene. I know this scene. I've been here, in my sleep. It's a time loop. Your dreaming mind built a library of futures, and occasionally, just occasionally, reality walks through the door of one of them.
Now, what if you could wake up inside the dream? Not wake up and end it, wake up within it. Imagine, you're standing in a street you don't recognize, and then a thought surfaces. Wait, this isn't real. I'm dreaming. In that moment, the laws of physics collapse. Gravity becomes optional. Time bends, and you go from being a passive character in someone else's story to being the architect of the entire world. This isn't science fiction. This isn't a Christopher Nolan plot device. This is a real, documented, scientifically verified phenomenon. And it might be the closest thing to a genuine superpower that human beings possess. Here's the science. In a normal dream, your prefrontal cortex is offline. That's why you accept the most absurd scenarios without question. A dragon in your living room? Sure, makes sense. Your childhood teacher is now also your boss? Obviously. Your critical thinking is simply switched off. But in a lucid dream, something remarkable happens. The prefrontal cortex wakes up, while the systems generating the dream and keeping your body safely paralyzed keep running. It's a hybrid state, 1 foot in sleep, 1 foot in waking consciousness, and the results can be extraordinary. Stanford sleep pioneer Stephen LaBerge spent years trying to prove this was real. The skeptics said lucid dreaming was just a story people told themselves, so he designed an experiment. He trained subjects to signal from inside their lucid dreams using pre-agreed eye movement patterns, left, right, a deliberate code. And when they entered lucid dreams in the sleep lab, their eyes moved, exactly as agreed. The electrooculogram recorded it clearly, a message transmitted from inside a dream to the waking world. I'm awake in here. The skeptics went quiet. For lucid dreamers, this state isn't just a playground, it's a laboratory. Because if dreams are projections of the subconscious mind, then having conscious awareness inside a dream means you can talk directly to your subconscious. You can shout into the dream, "Show me my deepest fear. What does this symbol mean? What am I running from?" The response is rarely in words. It comes as raw emotion, a physical sensation, a scene that hits you so hard you wake up changed. It's like debugging your own brain's source code. And the results, historically, have been staggering. Dmitri Mendeleev saw the complete structure of the periodic table in a dream. He woke up, grabbed a pen, wrote it down, and it was almost entirely correct. Paul McCartney woke one morning with a complete, fully formed melody playing in his head. He thought it must be something he'd heard before. It was too good to have come from him. He played it for everyone he knew. Nobody recognized it. It was original. It was his. He called it Yesterday. It became one of the most covered songs in recorded history. Stephen King has spoken openly about pulling entire novel concepts from nightmares, images so disturbing, so vivid that he had to write them down just to get them out of his head. Where did these ideas come from? Was it simply the subconscious running background calculations while the conscious mind slept? Or, as some theoretical physicists have quietly speculated, is consciousness itself a kind of field, one that in the lucid state of dreaming can connect to something larger, a higher dimensional information source that we don't yet have language for? We don't know, but here's what we do know. That part of your brain that spends most of its waking life suppressed, the creative, non-linear, boundary-breaking part, found a way to slip you a note, and you almost threw it away. Finally, let's talk about the door between dreams and reality: breathing. No matter where you go in your dreams, flying above cities, running through forests, standing in the living room of a house that doesn't exist, your body, lying completely still in your bed, keeps doing the one thing it has always done. Inhale, exhale. In that half-awake, half-dreaming border state, the hypnagogic threshold, you can feel two worlds overlapping. On one side, the vivid, dissolving afterglow of the dream. On the other, the pale morning light sneaking through the gap in your curtains. Don't rush to get up. Don't grab your phone, not yet. Just follow your breath. Because your breath is the only thing that exists in both worlds simultaneously. It was there in the dream. It's here now. It never left. In that fragile, quiet moment, try to catch the dream fragments that are already fading. Feel whatever emotion is still lingering in your chest. Don't analyze it. Don't explain it. Just let it land. Because here's what it's been trying to tell you all along. Don't dismiss your dreams. If the waking world is built from atoms, then the dream world is built from information and consciousness. And modern physics tells us something profound. The observer affects what is observed. Which means when you dream, you may not just be watching a reality, you may be creating one. Maybe Zhuangzi was right all those centuries ago. Life and death, waking and dreaming, they are not opposites. They are two sides of a Mobius strip, a loop with no beginning and no end. In an age of cold data and relentless algorithms, your dreams are proof that something in you still refuses to be fully explained. They are your private sanctuary, the back door to unlimited possibility. your personal, encrypted channel for communicating with the universe. And if you made it this far, you're not the kind of person who sleeps through life. You're the kind who asks what's underneath it. So tonight, when you close your eyes again, remember, you are not escaping reality. You are expanding it. Go meet another version of yourself in a world that runs on different rules. Go hear the song that was never written. Go find the person your waking mind has been searching for. They're waiting. Sweet dreams, or better yet, safe travels.